It's amazing to be married to someone who's a part of a family that has so much history. You know, as in America, it's very rare to know your family history past maybe 1-2 generations. You know, the country is so young. We don't have very old buildings or very old families. You know, there's a sense of everything being quite young and new. So it's incredible to be a part of a family now that can trace, you know, their family back so many hundreds of years, and to have this incredibly beautiful history of being, you know, a prince or a princess. I think that's just so incredibly beautiful to have that connection to your history. When Tao and I started dating, I was living in a house, a little sort of surf shack by the beach, and he was living in the school bus, and the bus was amazing. He was making films out of the bus, and they had 3 editing stations and a sound booth and a library, and it was so impressive and represented everything about kind of the modern artist to me, and I found it so fascinating. I moved on to the bus, and we were married in the bus only because it was the most private place we could find. Because we eloped. It was a secret wedding. We only had 2 best friends with us as witnesses. And so we thought, where can we go where no one will bother us? And everywhere else seemed a little bit too conspicuous. And we thought, what can we do? The bus. Nobody will come into the bus and bother us. And so we invited the justice of the peace onto the bus, and he looked around and said, I've done weddings on cliffs, on beaches, everywhere else, but never in a school bus. And then we had this very sweet, very humble and intimate little wedding ceremony, and afterwards he said, this is the most romantic wedding I've ever presided over. I think everyone who's in love would agree that love is quite relaxing. When you're really in love, you can really relax. And one thing that I think has really helped my career is that I met the love of my life when I was very young, and it was very surprising and unexpected, and we spontaneously and very romantically got married when everyone thought it was really crazy, and it was really crazy and eccentric. But the most amazing thing about it is once I found that person, was able to settle into this amazing love, it was so relaxing that I really got to focus on my career, and I think it's one of the reasons that I've been so lucky to be quite successful very young. You know, I think it's amazing what love can do for you. Oscar Wilde is Irish. My family's Irish, and it was important for me to use an Irish name. I wanted to be in touch with, you know, my roots in that way. And many people told me, you know, that having a sense of inspiration in this business is very important. Whether you're following in the footsteps of someone who you really respect and who you admire and who inspires you, it's important to kind of keep them in mind as you make decisions in your career. And Oscar Wilde is someone who represents to me a certain sense of confidence and fearlessness in the business of entertainment, of show business, and of being an artist. Someone who never sacrificed their own personal beliefs or morals. He was eccentric, he was different, he was you know, persecuted for being different, but was very much an individual and very proud of being an individual. And when I was first starting out, you know, it's still important to me today, but when I was first starting out, I really wanted that to be something that, to remain on my mind, remained as an inspiration. I was also performing, one of my first big theatrical roles was performing in The Importance of Being Earnest. And I loved doing that play so much, and I played Gwendolyn, and I walked out on stage every night so happy and so inspired, and I wanted to remember that feeling as I went ahead in my career. I fell in love with acting the first time that I saw someone performing. I mean, I was so young. I wanted to be an actress when I was 3, 4, or 5 years old. I think it started because I was so imaginative and energetic and eccentric as a little kid that people would always tell me when I was very young, she's going to be an actress, you're going to be an actress. And so you start to take that on as a kid, you know, as an identity, that once you know that there's this profession that allows you to perform and be who you are, then you think, that sounds really fun, I'd like to do that. But I didn't really know what it was. So as I got older, my parents really encouraged me to study. If they said, if you want to be an actress, you have to learn the art of acting and about theater. And so I always went to theater schools when I was a kid, and then as I got older still. But I remember the moment when I first saw the taping of Saturday Night Live. I went to New York, I was 10, And it was my big special birthday present that I got to go to the live taping of Saturday Night Live. And I remember because Heather Locklear was the host and Janet Jackson was the musical guest. And I watched all the actors performing, and I thought, I can't believe they're getting paid to do this. This is their job. This looks like the coolest job ever. And I put it together that like the acting I had been learning about and you know, theater and everything could also be this amazing taped game. And I started learning more about films and everything that actors could do. So I started really young. The love affair with acting started very young, and it only grew. And everyone always thought, you know, maybe it'll peter out. A lot of little girls want to be actresses, and then once they realize what a sometimes thankless and difficult job it can be, they sort of get discouraged. But I had so many supporters along the way. My mother, my father, my friends, everyone was always very supportive. So the love affair continued. Tao and I made a movie together called Fix, and it was the first time we worked together on a project. And everybody working on the film was a little nervous about what it would be like having the lead actress married to the director, and that could potentially be really dangerous. But it was amazing because it was the opposite of contentious. It was so fun because we have this very well rehearsed, I mean, you know, very kind of developed, I should say, sense of communication. We have a really good flow of communication. So it's almost like you have a shorthand with the person you're in love with, and you can read their mind a little bit. And on a set, between an actor and a director, the most important thing is, of course, communication. And that was so great on the set because I would know exactly when he wanted something a little different from me, and I could tell him very quickly if I felt we needed to do something differently. So it was really fun. And we've always been inspired, both of us separately and together, by John Cassavetes and Jenna Rollins and all the movies they made together. And I love the idea of this partnership. I grew up with my parents working together a lot. They're both journalists, and they wrote books together, they made documentaries together, and I grew up with them constantly collaborating. So my sense of what love was always involved a sense of collaboration and mutual respect. So it's no surprise to me that Tao and I ended up having that experience and loving it so much that we want to do it again. I can't wait to make another film with him. I've been really lucky these last couple years. I've had a lot of success and a lot of different things happening, and this year I have a big movie coming out called Tron Legacy, which is a big 3D movie based on the 1982 classic Tron. This one is using effects that nobody has ever seen before, and it stars me, Jeff Bridges, and a young actor named Garrett Hedlund, and it's going to be really exciting. It's the first time I've done a big action movie, and it was an amazing experience, and amazing to be a part of this revolutionary moment in filmmaking, using 3D cameras that had never been used before, even more advanced than the Avatar technology, and being a part of something new like that was amazing. I also did a movie with Elizabeth Banks and Russell Crowe called Next 3 Days, directed by Paul Haggis, and that's an amazing film, much smaller, a very intense drama, love story. And that was an amazing experience to work with actors like Russell Crowe. It was new for me and very, very exciting. And then I'm about to start a movie called Cowboys and Aliens, and that's with Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford. And that's another big movie and really fun old Western adventure movie. And then I'm also about to start a comedy with Jennifer Garner and Hugh Jackman and Alicia Silverstone called Butter, which is a very cool, quirky little comedy. And I'm also on House. So this year has been amazing, and the next year will be very busy, and I feel very, very lucky right now. How can you not fall in love with Italy? I've never met anyone who came to Italy and didn't fall in love with Italy. Whether it's the architecture or the people or just the food, there's no way not to fall in love with this country. But I have been in love with Italy since I was little. We used to come visit. My family loves Tuscany, so we would come to Tuscany and I would go to Siena. And I remember looking at the piazza in Siena and saying, I'm gonna get married here. And imagining, like, as a 7-year-old girl does, like what my wedding would be like in Siena. Italy has just a very passionate and romantic sense of itself. And Italians value love above many other things. And it's just an incredibly romantic place. And I think, you know, there's a sensuality about Italians that I really appreciate. And that's, I think, why, you know, there's this love affair even with the cuisine, the food in Italy. Enjoying food in Italy is not just about food, it's about sensuality and about enjoying life. And I think when you come to Italy, there's this sense that you're enjoying life and you're getting the most out of life. One of the other reasons I love Italy is because of how they value the culture of drinking coffee. Because, you know, a lot of people see coffee as an addiction, or they see it as this necessity to get them going in the morning, which is certainly true for me. I definitely need coffee to get going in the morning. It makes me a much smarter, sharper person. But I love the culture of drinking coffee, the idea of not just having fuel, but enjoying it as this delicacy and this kind of ancient art of gathering and of sharing ideas. And I really love the experience of sitting down and having my coffee in the morning. And I love to sit with Tao and have coffee in the morning, or I love meeting friends for coffee. But it's something that I really enjoy, and something that I think brings people together in a way that is a really kind of positive and good thing. But I'm also a coffee snob. I like good coffee. And once I married an Italian, I became even more of a snob, because now I like really good coffee and I won't drink bad coffee.